Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the first eMarketer Academy webinar after a long summer. I hope you've all had a fantastic time and feel recharged. We're heading into quite an exciting autumn with a lot of challenges still facing us in this COVID Corona situation, with markets slowly returning and some still struggling. So I look forward to be able to share some inspiration that will help us think differently about our approach, perhaps, and the way we tell stories. And for that purpose, I am so happy to welcome you, Ossian, as an expert on this topic. So thrilled to have you here.
Thank you. Thrilled to be here as well.
I look forward to going through this topic. It's something that's been on our mind for a while, and something that we aspire to be much better at, and I think a lot of other people should be too. So without further ado, today's topic: storytelling and video marketing, and how to sell with stories, and figuring out what kind of company am I, what is my reason for being, and how can I tell that story. And for that, as mentioned, we have Ossian here, a partner of ours and co-founder of a company called Storytel. You have a lot of more words to put to your face in just a moment, I'm sure. I am getting some notions that sound is not coming through. Let me see. Stockholm friends, eMarketer office, can you reply? Sound is okay for me. So some people are not hearing sound and some people are. Let me see what I can do. As far as I can see, audio switched on for the both of us, and it should be coming through. Let me see. Is this changing anything? Let's see. Okay, sound is good. Sound is okay on the West Coast. We are covering the world, Ossian, today. Some people are having difficulties. I'm truly sorry. Obviously, I can't tell them if you can't hear us, try to log out and log in again. It's futile when they can't hear us. But we have to proceed. Thanks for bearing with us if we have any technical difficulties. It is the first webinar after summer, after all. My name is Klaus. If you have been to an eMarketer Academy webinar, you know me by now. I am now the product evangelist and head of partner alliances for eMarketer, which means my role, which is a fantastic role to be in, is to share my enthusiasm and motivation for all things marketing, of course, eMarketer, but also everything that has to do with the life of a marketeer, together with our partners and customers. Some quick practicalities. We'll be here 40, 50, maybe 60 minutes, depending on how many questions you have for us, and for Ossian in particular. And please do feel free. Actually, we strongly encourage you to use the questions box. Let us know what you think during the webinar. We will kind of take the questions as a kind of interview ping pong session after Ossian has gone through his content, to elaborate on the questions you have. So this is can be seen as a monologue, but please do go ahead and send us your questions. It's just much more interactive and interesting that way. Recordings and slides will be sent after the webinar, so don't worry about grabbing screens and so on as we go. Okay, so today's topic is getting to know some key concepts within storytelling and video marketing, as of course from our expert here. It's a huge topic, and video marketing is, I can't even say, is it on the rise still? It's still skyrocketing, right? So it's something that there is a lot to get to know about, and today is getting an overview of some of the most important techniques that Ossian will take you through. eMarketer, I will kind of stay in the background and moderate this stuff and ask the difficult questions after. But as an organization, we are based in Sweden. We've been in the cloud since 2002 as a marketing automation platform. So basically your one-stop shop for all of your digital marketing needs, all the way from identifying visitors on your website through your email campaigns, lead campaigns, forms, sign-up processes, surveys, event management, and much more. So basically your ability to orchestrate your digital marketing activities in one platform that's easy to use, where you can plan, execute, and measure on your marketing projects. That's what we're all about. And I'll get out of the way and hand it over to you, Ossian, to take it away, introducing yourself and take us through this interesting topic today. there you go. I will hand over the screen to you so you can continue presenting from your end of the game here. So let me know. You should see a presenter message on your screen.
Perfect. Great. So you see my screen?
I do.
Perfect. So hi everyone and welcome to this webinar. I'm super excited to be here and talk with you guys today. So I am Ossian Vernese. I am co-founder and head of agency at Storycell. And Storycell, we were founded in Gothenburg 5 years ago, and today we are an international marketing agency with offices in Sweden and Barcelona, where I'm at right now actually. And at Storycell, we're working with loads of different clients, helping them with producing video content, marketing, branding, and also consulting our clients on marketing strategies and especially video marketing strategies. And we're working with brands like Klarna, Philips, but also some of the most hyped startups around Europe. And our topic for today is, of course, going to be storytelling. And at Storycell, we believe that storytelling can transform your company. And today we're going to learn and teach you how you can implement some of the techniques we use to implement it straight into your brand. And today we're going to cover topics of video marketing, what is storytelling. We're going to give you some storytelling techniques. We're going to discuss different kinds of video productions and buyer awareness states, and also talk a bit about the future of video marketing and what you as a marketeer maybe should be aware of. And then we're going to sum everything up by doing a fun storytelling exercise together. So let's get started. I want to start everything off by going through a great classic storytelling example with you guys. So a few years ago, a man named Robert, he wanted to try out to see how powerful can storytelling as a tool be. So he went to eBay and bought a ton of cheap, to be honest, shit products, like this horse head, for example. So he bought all these cheap products. He then invited authors to write a short description, a short story about this useless products. Then, after writing a short story to the products, he went back onto eBay. He republished the items again, this time with a short story attached to it. And what happened when he added a great story to these products? Well, this horse mask, used as one example, went from being bought for 99 cents to almost $63. That's a pretty impressive increase. Everything just by adding a short story to the product. And in total, all the items with stories we sold a total markup of 6,300%. So pretty powerful tool to implement. So what we want to ask now is what would happen to your brand if you would do just like Robert did now to implement and apply storytelling to your business and into your strategy? Just imagine what could the effect be for your company. And one great way to attach a story to the product, offer, services, or even idea that you're selling is to use video. So to start with the fundamentals, what is video marketing? This might be super easy for some of you guys, but in essence, video marketing is using videos to promote and market your product, service, or idea. Pretty easy. What's more interesting to know is how do we apply storytelling to video marketing? Because as you know, we see a huge rise of video content on internet, going up to over 80% of consumer traffic is video content. So the competition is high, which makes it really important for you working with video marketing to have a great story. And to begin here now, I want to show you a model that we are working with that's called the what or the Y company, or the what versus the Y company. And we can have a look like this. So two different kinds of companies. On the left-hand side, we have the what company. A what company only describes the product or services they're offering without really making an effort to describe why they're relevant to the receiver. As an example here, a comparison to Robert on eBay, this would be the items at 99 cents without the story. A challenge that what companies might be facing is that they require the potential customers or the buyers to already have a high knowledge of the offering they're trying to sell, which makes it less persuasive arguments that's making it difficult to enabling upsell or cross-selling for future products. So this is in comparison the 99 cents of Robert's products. And if we have a look on the other type of company, the what company, sorry, the Y company. So the Y company, they make an effort to convince their audience why their products can make an impact and are relevant. And why is this strong? Well, we are quite basic as humans, and we tend to remember stories much better than hard, cold facts. Just think about it. When was the last time you were laughing out loud about a spreadsheet or about any kind of hard data? It's kind of how we humans are wired. We tend to love a good story, but most important, we tend to remember great stories. And it appeals to a broader range of buyers in all of the awareness stages. So even someone who might not have a lot of knowledge about maybe the industry or the product, with storytelling, you can educate them and make them understand why they need the product, which is also good for enabling upsell and cross-selling activities. So we can have a look again at Robert. We have the what company on the left side and the Y company on the right side. And if you ask yourself, which side would you rather be on, left or right? Now we're going to the first question of the day. So now we're going to get a poll, I think, pop up on your screen. And here I just want you to have a think about the company, your company, or the company you work for. Would you define your company as a what or a Y company?
Absolutely. I've launched the poll, so you guys should be seeing the poll on the screen asking, are you a what company or a Y company? And you can go ahead and be completely honest. Other people can't see what you're asking, what you're answering. So think about, are you really talking to the market about your features, your products and prices, or are you more high level explaining the reason for being your company, why you're relevant? So let's see how this plays out. I think you'll have, I can see how the polls are split now, Asian. You will have a little bit of both. I can guarantee you that. This is pretty interesting. You guys are not shy. You are really sharing your impression of your own company. Almost 80% of you guys have voted. If we can bring it just up a little notch, just a few more, don't be shy. Okay, there you go. Thanks, guys. Thanks for playing along. I'm going to close the poll in a second and share the result, and everybody should be able to see it on the screen. And I think this will put a smile on your face, Ashyan. Here we are. You guys should be seeing the polls now. So we're split right down the middle, and I promise you, not only 2 people have answered this, a lot of you guys have done so, and 49% says that you're a what company, describing your products, features, and so on, and 51% are Y companies. What do you think about that?
But that's super interesting, and I'm happy that everyone could be so honest. And for you guys that are Y companies out there, fantastic, good job. And you what companies, don't be afraid. That's why we're here today, and we're gonna share with you storytelling technique that you can start implementing, which takes us on to the next phase. So storytelling techniques. At Storycell, when we work with our clients, we are working with a wide range of different kinds of techniques for for storytelling. And today we're going to present one of our most popular ones. And the reason is this one is really easy to implement as a first step to start working with storytelling for your company. And we call this opportunity storytelling. So what is opportunity storytelling and how can you start working with it? Let's go through it step by step. So when working to craft a story with opportunity storytelling, the first step we want to do is to describe changes that are happening in a given marketplace. That's the first step. We call this trend casting. Next step, so we describe the changes. From describing the changes, we go into talk about how these changes might affect prices and customer needs. From that, we go on to explain how these changes have opened up new market windows, hence the opportunity. So what we're doing here is that we are creating a frame for the story that makes your product service relevant. And today we're going to go through the first step here, the step we call trend casting. So describing the changes happening in a given marketplace. And how do you do this? Well, it's pretty straightforward. We are usually trying to define these different changes that are happening in the market or even in the world. So if you go through them here, this is some examples of forces that could make your product relevant. So the first thing you could ask yourself is there any economic forces that change and affect the market for your customers? Or is there any social forces such as changing in human behavior patterns that makes your product relevant? Or maybe technological forces, political forces, or geographical forces, or environmental forces. So this is the first step. And what you can do as with your team after this call is just to grab these questions, sit down and discuss them, trying just to find some bullets on maybe each one of them, maybe just one of them or several. It's of course dependent on your company and your market, but this is a great way just to get started to find the frame of your story. So try to do that as an exercise after this call, and I think that will get you started. And yeah, this creates a strong frame that will enable your storytelling, and you will be a great storyteller. So this would be the first few ingredients to crafting your story. And when you have managed to create this brand company story, what do you need to do? Well, of course, you want to reach as many people as possible. So let's have a look at Alan. So Alan has finally created an amazing story for his company. He's really proud of this story. So what does he do? Well, he picks up his megaphone, he walks out in the square and starts yelling, screaming out his story to everyone that can hear him. Do you think is that an effective way of getting your message across? Probably not. And this is why storytelling loves video marketing. Because imagine if Alan would have a video. With video, he could amplify himself and reach more people all across the hours of the day. And what's especially video and storytelling, why it goes so well together, is that you will ensure to have a perfect pitch or a perfect story that will be the same all the time, which is great even if you're a small company like Alan who wanna get his message across. But maybe you are a bigger organization and you have your story and you want to ensure that your story is told to be the same every time. And that's why, let's say, an explainer video is a great way to push your storytelling approach forward. But what you might ask yourself now is, what kind of video should I use? And what's the difference between different kinds of videos and when to use what video? So I'm going to show you an overview of some of the Storytelling Loves Video Marketing. Great. So here's an overview of the most popular kinds of video productions that we often work with. And they're all great in their own ways. And of course, this is unique to every company, which videos you want to use and when. But just as a brief explanation of the difference between these, if we start with the motion graphics explainer video. So this is the typical explainer video you would see on any social platform, a startup explaining their new disrupting service. And these videos are really, really effective to frame your story, to also to visualize maybe common problems that your customers are experiencing. And with this, by visualizing these problems or even visualizing the changes that are happening in the given marketplace, remember trend casting, visualizing this with a motion graphics explainer video is a really powerful tool. Next thing, a client testimonial video. So a client testimonial video could be you interviewing your client about the products or offerings that you are selling. And what's interesting here is that here you will let your clients tell your story, which is also a powerful tool to get credibility and make your audience to trust you. And next one, recruitment and employer branding videos. So at client testimonial videos, the client was telling the story. And who do you think is telling the story in recruitment videos? Well, it could be your team or your employees, which is also a great way, especially for attracting talent, to have a storytelling, recruitment, or employer branding video. And then we have a few other below here as well. Company presentation videos, system explainer video. This system explainer video is good if you want to highlight maybe product specific features in a system, or educational explainer videos. This is the educational one, might be really good for those of you out there who maybe you have a more of a complex product that you want to maybe needs more, let's say, more knowledge from the customer to understand. So it could be either that the customers don't know that they need your product, then you can have the educational explainer video that's explaining how the market is changing or what changes that are happening in the world. And then of course it's storytelling, or as we call it, story selling. Even if it's educational, you still want to have a promotional message in the video. So you can see that partially educational with storytelling, describing the whys, building up a strong background story for your brand, and then presenting you as the perfect solution to this problem we've just been discussing. But as I said, these are some of the most popular video production. It all depends on your brand and especially on your objective, how you, which one to use and when. But one way to map out a video marketing strategy is to have a look at the buyer awareness states. I'm sure you are familiar with these, but let's start from the beginning. So first, in the first step here, in the unaware state, we want to focus more on the idea pitching to create an interest and inspire our audience to use our products and services. This is the kind of people that maybe they don't know they want to use your service, or they don't know they need your service. Going on to the aware state. Here I want to focus more on educating the audience to help them understand the problem and drive a sense of urgency to start to compare the options on the different marketplaces. Because here they know that they need your service, so they start to look at different options, different solutions, and now we need to convince them that your offer is the best one on the market. Going from aware state to the transactional states, here we want to focus more on the impulsive reminders and triggers that make them want to buy your product now. So in general, in the transactional states, we tend to go with a bit shorter videos, more focusing on a strong call to action, because here we just need to remind them, because from the unaware state all through the states, we have been educating them. They know the background, they know the problem. Now we just need to tip them over the edge to actually buying. And this is also where video and, let's say, an automated marketing funnel can be super powerful tool, because it makes it easier to move your audience or move your buyers across the states to end up in the transactional states and make a purchase. And this is unique for every company, but if you want to map it out how to use videos in the funnel, you could do something like this. And this is something you can also bring to your video marketing meetings. Try to map out your customer journey, map out the states, and you start pinching down the kind of videos you think would be the best for the different states. So here's just an example of how you could do it, but this is of course unique for every company. Cool. So going forward, how is the world of video marketing changing? As you know, there's been a rise of video and video content for the last 10 years, even more. And all major platforms start to prioritizing video much more than they have been doing before. So of course, it's important as a marketeer to have a video marketing strategy, because even some platforms that a few years ago didn't even allow native video marketing on their platform, like LinkedIn. They launched video in 2017, which is quite late compared to other. But today on LinkedIn, they see a 3 times engagement of video compared to text or photo content. That's pretty impressive. And another thing that's also pushing video even more is LinkedIn is currently trying out LinkedIn stories in some marketplaces or in some countries. So this might be something we in Sweden or Europe might be seeing maybe over the coming years, but that's also an example of how platforms are pushing video content to the users. So just imagine or think about it. How would your LinkedIn stories be? What would you be talking about? And especially, what would your story be on your LinkedIn stories? And even if we have these LinkedIn, we've all been using it, but we also see a rise of new platforms showing up, such as TikTok or Twitch. And these are all shaping the way we are consuming online content. And of course, what these two have in common is that it's super focused on video content. Like both of these two, it's only video. And what does that mean? Not sure, but we need to, even though we have these new kind of platforms coming up, we can also have a look at the, let's say, more traditional platforms for consuming video content, such as Instagram. Even Instagram are pushing out loads of new features, new functionality that makes it easier to engage your client with video content. We remember a few years ago, they released stories, which they took from Snapchat, released stories. That's changing the behavior. Then they're releasing IGTV, which allows us to use longer videos on the platform. and now Reels, which is this TikTok version, etc. But they're also experimenting with other ways of engaging the audience, such as augmented reality. And one way to engage here is an example of how we at Storycell created our own Instagram filter as a way to create interactive video content. And the question you can ask yourselves here is there any way you can work with interactive video content? What would that be? What would it be? So we believe that the platforms who win on video will also win the user attention, which makes it important for us as marketeers to stay on top of what's happening and also to have a presence in the video content industry. But one thing that is really important to remember is that no matter the platform, many of the successful video campaigns we've seen, both from ourselves but also from other companies, is that they're all crafted around a great story, and all companies have their own stories to tell. So don't be too afraid about new platforms showing up, so TikTok, etc., because it all comes down to telling a story. So what is your story, and how will you use that story to grow your business and deliver a message that could have the same impact as eBay Robert had? Summary. So we're soon going to go into a storytelling exercise. I will explain to you how we're going to conduct that in a minute. But first, I just want to have a short summary of this introduction to storytelling and video marketing that we've been going through. So remember, we were starting off by putting together the ingredients of your story with trend casting. And then from that, we're crafting the story. We're trying to find out which video productions should I use, like explainer video or client testimonial video, and then see how can we use these videos where in the buyer awareness funnel. So that's kind of the basis of our the first few steps of our video marketing strategy. And then we also want to stay on top of what's happening in the video marketing industry. And I would say as well, don't be afraid to experiment with different platforms. So now we're going to go into a storytelling exercise. So I want you to pick up a pen and a paper, and maybe a new document on your computer, and just put down a few bullets on what's your company's why. This doesn't have to be anything complex. It can be small things or big things, or just try to just get the ideas flowing and have a think about the different forces we discussed before. What forces is relevant in your market and for your offerings, and how does these changes in the marketplace make you relevant? So we're not going to go through all of your answers here now in this webinar, because that would take probably a long time with all of your great ideas. But if you want to, you can feel free to send us your whys or your bullets or your ideas to us, and we will provide you with some feedback and help you to get started. So thank you guys for being with me in this webinar to discuss video marketing and storytelling. Now we're going to go on to a Q&A, which I'm also super excited about to hear what questions do you have, and yeah, let's go on to it.
Exactly. Great stuff there, Ossian. I think a lot of people now, like me, are thinking about all the stuff that we need to get going and need to get done. And I can see some of the questions really reflect that. you talking about not only understanding your company's ethos or why, it's also a lot of technologies and new ventures and maybe new partners we need to sign up with to get going. So there's a lot of things, a lot of moving parts here, which is super exciting and can be super daunting as well. So let's take us through the questions as they've rolled in. I've tried to organize them a little bit. You guys should be seeing my screen as well now, and I've pasted in the questions that came in. Now, the advantage of being the moderator is I get to ask the first question, which is my own here, because we've been dabbling with video for quite a while. We have both internal resources able to do videos, and we partner with guys like you to help us out. But what's always a bit challenging is I find that it takes a long time to produce videos, and with all the advantages and things that are happening, does it still have to take so long time to produce?
That's a really, really good question, and a short answer to this would be no. It doesn't have to take a long time to produce videos and still keeping high quality. I think if you have a video marketing strategy that will help you to speed up the process of producing video, even if you do it in-house or with a partner. But with a video marketing strategy, you know what videos you want to produce. In terms of the pre-production, you don't need to start from the beginning all the time because you have a strategy to follow. And in terms of videos, of course, it's different for every kind of video you produce, but it can range from a week for explaining videos or 2 weeks. Like it's very unique per product. But short answer, no, it doesn't have to take a long time, and it doesn't have to be super expensive to produce great content, great video content.
That's good. And I guess the more sure and the more thought you've given into your why, the easier it is to get going on the video production.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
if you
exactly.
don't have your story straight, I mean, that's going to end up being another product focused video about your company and not really about what you're trying to solve.
Yeah, exactly. If you have a story to follow, that will be much easier because then you have the frame. It's a great point.
Then there is a question from Louise. I tried to grab a little bit of the slide just to put it into context as to when the question came in. So when you were talking about different platforms coming up, Louise had a question about which is the best platform for video ads. And here, Louise, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking you're thinking about the platforms like the LinkedIn, the YouTubes, the whatnot, and not the platforms you're producing it on. So that's the scope here.
Also, great question, Luis. So of course this is also unique depending first of all on your company objectives, but also on your target audience. So we didn't cover that today talking about target audience, but let's say LinkedIn, for example, might be perfect if your target audience is using LinkedIn. So I think this all goes down to your marketing strategy and where's the users and how can you reach them. I would say it's I think we marketeers we tend to just push out our messages on all platforms without really thinking about where should we go. So we push out the message on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, everywhere. But I think you could probably save some money and get some more engagement, but actually try to get to know your target audience. Maybe they're huge on a platform you don't know about, like Twitch or something else. Then you could have a look at that. So this is very unique, but in general, the best platform, if you say you're working towards more B2B oriented sales, of course, LinkedIn might be the best one. If you're going more towards B2C, then you can look at Instagram. But another way here as well to get to know your audience is to do some A/B testing. Try to do a campaign on LinkedIn. What's happening? Try to do something on Instagram. Measure the results. And of course, don't only measure the amount of views you get, but try to see how many, what's your conversion rate? And do some A/B testing. It doesn't have to be huge budgets. Just test it. A, B. Okay, LinkedIn was better. Let's put everything on LinkedIn.
Cool. Good stuff. I hope that covered that question, Luis. On to the next one from Martin. I shortened this one down a little bit. I think Martin is producing videos, and he says that he's getting pretty good at getting video quality, and even from the new iPhones and whatnot, you can get amazing quality. But one thing that Martin has a hard time figuring out how to do good is audio. So his question is, how important is the audio part of the video marketing?
Also, great question. So audio is super important in videos. Let's say you have a fantastic, well-produced video, but the audio is bad. That could destroy the whole experience of seeing this video. In the same way, you could have a quite poorly produced video, but if the audio is great and you have the good story, then it can still be engaging. Because as humans, we're both visual learners and auditive learners, and we want to have the full experience of having both visual and audio. So I would say it's really important, and if something, especially if you're doing videos yourself, maybe let's say on YouTube or something, like invest in a microphone like the one you have there, Klaus, something like that, is to increase the quality of the audio, because it can make a huge difference.
Okay, so do not underestimate the audio part of things. That small mic on your camera won't suffice.
With these ones.
All right, so here's a question from Petra. It came in when we were talking about your company why and when you should start formulating. And Petra asks, who should be part of the why project or the why task? Is this done by copywriters in marketing, or where do you see this sit?
Interesting question. Usually when we conduct workshops with our clients, we come to the office, we do these kind of exercises together. We like to have a bigger team, let's say, from the company side, because of course it could be seen only as a marketing project, but why not also invite the technical people of your company, because of course they have other ideas and other knowledge that might be valuable, or even someone who's not on a top position, maybe an employee, they might have another why. And I think what's important, especially in the why task, to kind of, when you're trying to find your story, don't limit yourself to a small management team. Try to bring in ideas from different perspectives. Even you can even talk to some clients to, like, why do you like our products? Maybe they have something. You want to get as many perspectives as possible, because the first thing will just be a kind of a brainstorming session. Then in terms of implementing the why and the story, then you want to maybe lean more towards a marketing team to craft the story, to create the story, etc. But in terms of finding the why, I say let's go broad.
I'm quite surprised, and it's really refreshing to get that type of answer, Roshan, because typically it's like, get management buy-in, otherwise this will never fly and whatnot. And actually what you're saying, no, go to the front line. That's where the clients are, and that's where your real observations about why you are solving a task and why you're relevant. I think that's hugely interesting. Talk to your tech folks, your support team, customer care team. They're the front line. Okay, very, very interesting. This is probably a bit difficult to answer verbally here, but Christina asks on the slide of the different video types if you have any examples of the different types of video. And here I'm going to go out on a limb saying maybe we can find, a couple of examples, links to videos that kind of archetypical for these different categories, and share them after the webinar. That's sure. A bold promise on your part.
No, we can. That sounds good. We can add it in the presentation that will be sent out as well.
Cool, excellent. I think that's good, because that will get some ideas going, probably. Here's a question from William asking, if linking stories launches in Europe, like you mentioned that it might, what kind of videos do you think could work there?
Also a great question. So here we have to have a look at LinkedIn. What kind of content do we currently see on LinkedIn? Well, you have some personal content. People are talking about their crazy lunch experiences and this. But I think you have one part of LinkedIn stories that could work would be to show maybe a more personal side of your brand. Remember here, like a personal is, we still want to have a strong promotional message in the video, but kind of you could show more of a maybe behind the scenes, etc. kind of work, going towards employer branding maybe. Like what if you recruit on LinkedIn and you also have the stories, you could create, you know, fantastic short stories on your LinkedIn. But we might also see, because stories today, let's say from Instagram, is super personal. We get this view of someone's life, like it feels like we're seeing the world through their eyes. When this is launched on LinkedIn, maybe we're gonna see a new kind of maybe more business related stories. We do see it partly on Instagram with like ads and such, but I think when LinkedIn is launching this, it's gonna push for this kind of video advertising that's in a, let's say, a vertical format, which is also interesting in terms of what we've been used to for the last, I don't know, decades, is to only produce videos in horizontal format. But now, you know, we're flipping it, we're watching it full screen on our phone, which is requiring as well a new way of thinking. How do we create this kind of videos? So to answer your question, Will, I think we're both gonna see maybe more company insights, but also new kinds of story format advertising. I think that's gonna push the story format advertising a lot.
Okay, yeah, I think thinking about it as a marketing or communications team in a larger organization, this is really a two-edged sword. It's really interesting and opens up a lot of opportunity, but it's also really daunting to think that, you know, it's not a surprise. It's been like that for long, but all of your employees that are active on social media, LinkedIn in particular, in the B2B setting, have a company voice, like it or not, they do, right? So your employee branding and the level of transparency here is an opportunity and a challenge for sure.
Yeah, and you have great examples of that as well. Companies actually trusting the employees by giving out the Instagram account to like one person a week. Like, hi, here is John, he's a copywriter. Here we're gonna follow his work week. And of course, that's also a kind of, that's also storytelling. Like he's showing how he works. And I think that's also a great way you could start using video by letting your team speak.
The questions are pouring in. So these are from after we started the Q&A session. So I don't have slides for these. I will paste them in the final deck. But here's a question from Josephine asking, if I'm just starting out with videos and want to see fast results, which buying stage should I focus on first? The unaware, aware, or transactional phase?
Good question, Josephine. Again, it depends on the kind of product you're selling. So let's say you are selling something as simple as Robert did with eBay with the horse. Here you could probably go more towards the transactional stage, just kind of pushing them to go, you know, over the edge and buy something. Though if you have a more complex product, you might want to go a bit earlier in the awareness stage to educate and especially to inspire the user. So if you have, so short answer, if you have a complex product, you should go a bit earlier. If you have a more simple, easy to understand product, you could go later. But again, I always think you should always start in the unaware to kind of make the audience or buyers move across the awareness state funnel, because you can find, even if you start in transactional state, you're missing out on so many buyers that might be interested, but they don't know what your product is. So I would recommend to start in the beginning.
It's a good tip. And it also forces you to think about your why, because the more transactional your message is, the more what your message will be. So the further back you go, the more why kind of thoughts you will need to have.
Exactly.
Here's a question from Robin. Any websites or platforms or persons that I can follow to learn more about storytelling? Well, go ahead and follow us here and then Storycell.
Exactly. Storycell on Instagram. Yes. On the top of my mind, I don't know, but if you use Medium, which is a fantastic platform for articles, you have loads of articles on storytelling. Also one article explaining the Robert situation here, fantastic articles. So I would say have a look at Medium, and maybe also TED Talks, loads of great TED Talks on storytelling, everything available for free. So that's something I would recommend. And here, don't just follow one person, like try to see and follow a few different people so you could get a wider range of different techniques of storytelling, etc. Because of course it's a broad term, storytelling, and everyone is adapting it in their own way. So I think just Google storytelling, TED Talks, Medium, like you have loads out there. It's a hot topic.
Okay, here's a question, really hands-on question from Morten. He asks, do you have some recommendations on equipment to produce video, hardware, and software?
But recommendations on
equipment to which equipment to use, like hardware and software. I'm thinking cameras, mics, stuff like that is probably what Morten is after.
Yeah, great. So I don't want to get into product specific, but I think if you are in the beginning of your video career, you don't need to spend a fortune on buying the most expensive camera, because in essence that won't help you to tell your story. So if you're gonna start doing video, try to learn the basics of videography, get a mid-range camera, and work more with your storytelling and your marketing strategies, because that's what plays the most important role. You can make a terrible video with a 50K camera, whilst you can see amazing videos produced with iPhone cameras. So don't get stuck on equipment.
I think it's a classical excuse to wait to get started. We need to have the right lamps and the right camera and the right everything, right?
Yeah.
But with one of these steady hands for your iPhone and a decent microphone, it's down to your storyline. So yeah. So that's a good tip. If you have the budgets, go burn it, but think about what you're going to burn and why you're going to burn them first.
Yeah.
I'm glad Ida is asking a question, which is fun. I thought about this when we were talking about audio and audio quality, and I was thinking about, well, in most videos, the important thing about the audio is that it's often not played, right? You're watching the video run without audio, and this is what ties into what Ida is asking: text with background music versus voiceover. So the text is kind of the audio when you're watching it on social media without playing the audio there. So there's a good balance to strike there, I guess.
It is, yeah, and it's actually, yeah, great question. Is something we are thinking about as well in every production we produce. So you imagine the user, he or she's on Facebook scrolling. They might see the first few seconds of a video, this continue to scroll. So what we want to do here in the videos we produce is to combine these two. So we tend to have the first seconds in the video, the first 3 seconds, as well in text and a voiceover. But that's just because imagine someone might be interested in what we're doing. So often we open up the videos with a question like, did you know that XXX is relevant for you, blah, blah, blah. And then even if they don't have the audio on, when scrolling, they will still see this text, and they will think, yes, this is something that I like. Then they click the video and they have the audio on, and probably if we make them stay for the first 3 seconds, they're gonna stay for a bit longer. So we wanna engage them with also text in the beginning. In terms of going, we also see videos that are only text and no audio. It might be good for some companies or some products. I think we see it more like towards maybe instructive videos, because I would still recommend they also have the voiceover, because the voiceover is the storyteller, right? And one question that we ask in these workshops as well is, if your brand had a voice, what would it sound like? It's an important part of your branding as well. So
I remember we went through this exercise with you guys, and it is incredible how much impact the voice of the voiceover has on the way that the video is perceived, and at the end of the day, how your brand is perceived. So yeah, it's a strange question, but it's really a relevant question.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Here's a kind of a hands-on question as well. This is from Ulrike asking, what is the best length of a video?
So usually if we're talking about explainer videos, we recommend to go somewhere in between 60 to 90 seconds, because this is about the amount of time someone has attention span to look at it. If you go towards a 90-second, we have some time to explain the frame of the story, the storytelling, why is the product relevant, but we also have time to explain the product or offering you're having. And I would say if you, again, with the awareness states, you might have ability to go a bit longer at some parts. It depends on, it depends on what kind of video it is. If it's a video production, live action, you can go like a bit longer. But in general, I would say keep it short. Keep it short because you are competing with so much content. I think you can as well. First, you create your script and you love it. Then after, like, try to compromise that to half the length, because probably you're just bullshitting. No one will remember so much information anyway. Like, keep it short and relevant.
Yeah. So it really depends on the type of video. If it is an explainer video, 60 to 90 seconds. If it's a longer customer case, you can go longer. But so it's difficult to come up with a concrete number of seconds for a video. But the one thing that they all have in common, short is better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
So half an hour might be short, but typically it's probably more like 3 minutes.
You do see live streaming videos that are 2 hours. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's see. We're starting to close in on the hour for sure, and I think it matches great with our questions. There was one here that we maybe can round off unless a flood stream comes in. It's from Bethel, asks, do you have an actual example where the buyer awareness funnel being used? Videos of different stages from an actual product or company. This is very concrete as well, maybe difficult to think up at the spot, but again, to get an idea of how would a video look in the awareness generating stage versus the transactional. Any examples of that?
It's a super interesting question. So I would say starting in the beginning of the awareness funnel with the unaware, as we said here, we want to inspire the buyers and make them realize, okay, I need this product. So probably here we want to explain the problem, the background, this is what we're offering, etc. And here, as we said before, like we tend to use like explainer videos because they're great to visualize the story. Going from there to the aware state, you can go more product oriented. Why is your product better than your competitors? Here it can tend to be a bit longer videos, also connecting to the last question we had, because now we know that so in the marketing funnel here, the user might see the first video on a platform, let's say Facebook, and they see it, they watch it, and then maybe we retarget them and we push them to the website. And now they're on the website. So now we have one more of their attention. So here we may be explaining more about the products and how we differentiate ourselves from our competitors, for example, and then going into the transactional state. So the user then, or the buyer, leaves my website and goes back to Facebook. Now I just want to send them reminders like, hey, like, do you remember this? Like, you've seen 2 videos about this. Like, then we don't need to explain everything again. They already know why they need this product. Also a great in the end, if you're gonna push on prices, this might be where you push more on prices, discounts, this kind of offerings that's just lowering the threshold for the buyer to make a decision. So I'm not sure if that's answering your question, but I would say have a look. You will probably see it yourself if you go on search on Facebook, and you will kind of see how you're being tricked by other marketers to follow a similar kind of structure, because it's really effective and it's working. So yeah.
Yeah, I think if you kind of print out Ossian's slides, I don't remember the number in particular, but the one with the awareness generating stages, the unaware, the aware, and the transactional, have that on the side of your table. And then as you browse your social medias and your YouTubes and your whatnot, challenge yourself with identifying the video that I'm just looking at now. Which stage is this video in? This will really sharpen your skills in figuring out how your own message could be positioned in these different stages. And it becomes kind of a game for you to identify, are they trying to win me over by making me aware of something, or are they trying to kind of turn me over with some transactional messages there?
Yeah, and also have it in your own strategy. Especially if you're in a position where you're posting social media content, maybe you're doing it at a quite large scale, posting lots of posts every day, every week. Think about it. Like when you post, who is this for? Is this for someone who's been following us for a few years? They know everything. And this is also a way to create, the base of both your video marketing strategy, but also your social media strategy of thinking about, okay, who am I talking to here? They might be my target audience. Both people might be my target audience, but they are in different states of the awareness funnel. So it's a great, have this either on your wall or a tattoo or somewhere close to you, so you can just like, who am I talking to?
I think you'll need to work on the conversion stage there to get that tattoo across my chest there, but we'll see. All right, we are at the hour. Thank you so much, guys, for all of these questions. Really inspiring for everybody, I think. Thanks for all of your expertise here and for sharing all of the insights, Ossian. Really appreciate it. We've got tons of webinars on the emarketer.com/webinars on topics like this, focusing on Google Ads, on social media, on storytelling like today. A lot of good topics there, and of course some eMarketer product focused stuff there. Go have a look there. If you are thinking about trying out something like eMarketer, go ahead and get your free trial there and kick the tires of our platform to see if this is anything that you would like. And keep in mind that Ossian has offered you free advice on your why. So just throw him an email on your bullets on your why for your company to get some feedback from the experts there. You just want to mention your email real quick, Ossian?
Yeah, so it's ossian@storycell.com.
We'll make sure to include it, obviously, in the follow-up emails. So thank you guys so much, everybody at Storycell. Hello in Barcelona and wherever you are. And thank you for everybody participating today. It's been a hoot. I hope to see you on some upcoming eMarketers webinar during the fall in these interesting times. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.